The second part of the Maamaer of Yud Aleph Nisan. The Rebbe said in Tafshin Mem Beis, 1982, the Rebbe's 80th birthday. Then the Rebbe edited the Maamaer and gave it out for Yud Aleph Nisan Tafshin Mem Zayin, 1987. And as we mentioned, this was the first Maamaer that the Rebbe edited for Yud Aleph Nisan, which means it also gives us an understanding and an appreciation what's the meaning of Yud Aleph Nisan. The beginning of the Maamaer, the Rebbe quoted the pasuk from the Navi Micha, Kimei, Tzeischa, Mitzrayim, arenu niflois. Just as the days when you left Egypt, I'll show you wonders. The Rebbe explains, based on what it says in the Maamarim of the Rabbeim, that the wonders, there's two explanations to this. One is that the wonders of the coming of Mashiach will be similar to the wonders that we experienced when we left Mitzrayim. And the second is that the wonders in the coming of Mashiach will be incomparably greater. There'll be wonders even in comparison to the wonders that we had when we left Mitzrayim. The question is, how can that be? And the basic point that the Rebbe explained is that there's two concepts. There's leaving Mitzrayim, which that's the basis, that's the foundation. That's the beginning of Gula, that's the opening for the concept of redemption. Then there's another idea, which is when the Gula Amitis Vashlema, the coming of Mashiach, which is complete redemption, when our essence becomes free people. The Rebbe explained that in the words of Kabbalah, that when we leave Mitzrayim, we're going out of the 49 gates of impurity. Those are all gates of impurity. How do we go out of the 49 gates of impurity? By bringing down the essence of Hashem into the world. Well, we bring it down in a way that its gates, it's the expressions of godliness in the world. That's the basis, that's the foundation, it's the way it comes into the world. That was going out of Mitzrayim. When Mashiach comes, it's the same 49 gates. It's the same essence of godliness, but over there it's the completion where we become free people, which means we leave the confines of the world. We leave the confines and the limitations that don't enable us to appreciate godliness, but we leave it in a way where our very essence is wound up with the essence of Hashem. So in truth, they're incomparable to each other. Godliness, the way it's revealed in the world, and godliness, the way it's in its essence removed from the world, are incomparable to each other. But yet, it's Kimei because it's really the same thing. Now the Rebbe continues in Ois Gimel. Amnam, however, al pizet tzarich lahavin mashe kasuv Kimei Tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim arenu nifla is based on this, that the coming of Mashiach is so much incomparably higher because it's the very essence that's revealed. And in the other words, it's when we become essentially free people because our essence becomes bound up with the very essence of Hashem. Whereas Yitzias Mitzrayim is only the way it's expressed in the world. So now the question is, why do we say Kimei Tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim arenu niflois? Madua midama kasav aniflois degula asidol aniflois shayu b'mei tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim. Why does the pasuk compare the wonders of the future redemption to the wonders that were in the time when we left Egypt? True, it's the same thing because it's the same concept, but yet it's totally incomparable. Why does the pasuk compare them? The redemption and the very essence of redemption. And the Rebbe continues that the question is even more powerful. According to the opinion in the Gemara that says that we mention Yitzias Mitzrayim even when Mashiach comes, the lecheira seemingly mikivan shagiluyim delasid lavi yiyu nailim harbe yeser meagiluyim shayu b'Yitzias Mitzrayim, since the revelations of the future of the time of Mashiach will be so much higher and greater than the revelations of the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, we are then going to be essentially free. We're going to have our essence bound up with the essence of Hashem. Lama yaskiru Yitzias Mitzrayim gamaz. Why is there a need? Why is there any point in reminding ourselves then about something which is so insignificant? Godliness, the way it comes into the world, we're now connected with the very essence of Hashem. And it's known what's explained. In something that was explained in the Maamaer Kimei Tzeischa Mitzrayim of the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Begulas Mitzrayim, the Schadish Klolus in Agulon, V'niftach hatziner al kol hagulos. By the redemption of Egypt, the whole concept of redemption was brought into the world. There was the opening of the pipe for all the future redemptions, mi'agolius, from all future exiles, shel achri golus Mitzrayim, which come after golus Mitzrayim. Gam al gula asida, even for the future redemption, agam shetiya gula nailis yeser, even there will be something so much more. Which means that although it's obvious that the Gula of Mashiach will be incomparably greater, it's going to be an essential redemption. But even an essential redemption needs to have the idea and the concept of redemption, which that started at the time when we left Mitzrayim. There's 2 points that there are. One point is redemption, redeeming ourselves from captivity, redeeming ourselves from the confines of the lumazeh, of the cover over Kedusha. And then there's a second idea, which is the essential redemption, but in order to get there, you need to first have also redemption itself, the whole idea and the whole concept of Gula. And similar to what is known, Sheitzias Mitzrayim, that the going out of Mitzrayim was a preparation for the giving of the Torah. It says in the Pasuk that Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, when you'll take the people out of Egypt, you'll serve Hashem on this mountain, which means the whole purpose and the whole goal of leaving Egypt is in order to achieve the giving of the Torah. Despite the fact that the main idea of redemption, of freedom, was specifically at the time of the giving of the Torah. Since before the giving of the Torah, there was still a wall between the higher worlds and the lower worlds. Had he moved on, it's understood true redemption, true freedom is when it's able to connect and able to become one with godliness. Before Matan Torah, there was still a wall that separated between spiritual and physical, which means despite the fact that we left the shackles of Egypt, not just physically but spiritually, but it certainly wasn't a proper freedom because there still was a separation between the two. And nevertheless, the fact is that the Gula of Yitzias Mitzrayim was the preparation and was what gave the power also for the redemption and the freedom of going out of Mitzrayim, of the time of Matan Torah. So that's the way it is with the original Gula. We left Mitzrayim. We had a mission. We had a purpose. We didn't just leave Mitzrayim. We left Mitzrayim, meaning we left the limitations and the confines of the world in order to be able to get the Torah. When were we free people? Only when we got a Torah, that the Torah is charus ala luchos, it enables a person to be free, to be able to actually connect the physical world and the spiritual world, because it's only then that it's free. The fact that you can go out of the confines of the physical world is still not freedom. Like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, if you're not able to transform it, if you can't connect it to the spiritual, it's still not properly free. Same thing in Al Derech Zogam Nigel Gula Asida. It's a similar manner with regards to the Gula Asida, the redemption of the coming of Mashiach. Shabagula di Yitzias Mitzrayim nitan akeach gam al gula asidon. The gula of Yitzias Mitzrayim gives us the power also for the future gula. Mikivan shebashas matan Torah haya kvar mein agilid lasid lavei. Because already at the time of Matan Torah, godliness was actually revealed. There was already a similar revelation to that which will happen in the time of Mashiach. However, at the time of the giving of the Torah, the revelation was only for the time being. The time of Mashiach will be a constant and eternal revelation. Because in the time of Matan Torah, the revelation was only one that came from above. Whereas in the time of Mashiach, it's going to be something which will reach also from below. Why? Because the creations of the world will then be the ultimate of refinement. They will be vessels that will be able to reveal godliness, to recognize and to perceive the knowledge of their Creator according to the power of man, and the fact that they're able to grasp godliness to the ability that a person can, this becomes a complete place also to reveal the godliness which is higher than the power of a person. Let's try and understand this also by giving a little bit of an example. Let's look at the difference between the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe. The Baal Shem Tov revealed godliness in the world. But the way the Baal Shem Tov revealed godliness in the world was in a manner that the world lost its existence in the face of the Baal Shem Tov's revelations. That's why the Baal Shem Tov was in a manner of miracles. The miraculous feats that the Baal Shem Tov accomplished, that we call it a Baal Shemske thing, that the Baal Shem Tov was able to just walk in. We know that it says that the Baal Shem Tov could have brought Yirei Lo, he could have brought a supernal fear even to a one-day-old child. He brought in, he was a fireball of an essence of godliness. But not necessarily did the person who heard and who met the Baal Shem Tov, he felt the power of the Baal Shem Tov, but it didn't necessarily take through his existence. Whereas the Alter Rebbe came and with Chassidus Chabad explained things that a person can understand from below until the person's mind is able to grasp godliness and become one with it. Even in that manner itself, there is the difference between the Alter Rebbe and the Rebbe, and like we said earlier, the story of the Tzemach Tzedek, the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and Mashiach. That Moshe Rabbeinu is like a doctor that's lacking experience. So he's a very good professor, but he doesn't have the experience. Mashiach is like a doctor with experience. What's the difference between the doctor that's lacking experience and the doctor with experience? The doctor that's lacking experience is just as wise. In fact, in a certain sense, he just studied, he just graduated university, he just graduated medical school. He knows it all, even better than later. He knows every single thing and every idea about medicine. But yet, he lacks the ability to translate it fully into the world. Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Torah into the world, but he brought it from above. He revealed godliness, the same godliness that will be revealed in the coming of Mashiach. But it didn't take through, it didn't permeate the world. It came into the world and gave the ability to change the world. Similar to what happened in Mitzrayim before the Torah was given. We left Egypt, we left our confines, we left the exile, but we ourselves still didn't change ourselves. We needed 49 days to step by step transform ourselves to become people that can receive a Torah so that there's no longer a wall between what's above and below. But even when the wall was taken away, above remained above, below remained below, there's now the ability to connect them. After all the time that there was in Galus, the time of actually refining and changing the world, then we were able to come that the world itself can appreciate godliness. The Alter Rebbe brought Chassidus into the world. He taught people we can understand about Hashem. the Rebbe, after 7 generations, as a follow-up to what the Alter Rebbe began, now the entire world, now the Goyim, now the world, the very essence of the nature of the sciences of the world, of everything that happens in the world. Everything in the world appreciates that revelation of godliness, like we see with the internet that unites the world. It's all the concepts that were explained in Chassidus, even by the Alter Rebbe, but more in a way of intellectually understanding it. Now we see it in the world itself. The world itself, the Goyim, the physical, inanimate reality of the world recognizes and conceives and is able to perceive the ideas of is able to perceive godliness. And that's what it means, the time of Mashiach. The time of Mashiach is after the world itself, throughout the time since the Torah was given, is refined, is elevated, is purified. Now man can grasp Hashem to the extent of a person's ability, and then now that he understood it fully to the extent of a person's ability, he now can even grasp the knowledge of Hashem which is above his ability. And now the Rebbe continues, V'zeu gam kin masha kosev Kimei Tzeischa mi'eretz Mitzrayim. Yemei loshin rabim. This is also the meaning of what the pasuk says, as in the days in which you left the land of Egypt. Days in plural, and as we asked in the beginning of the Maamaer, that it was only one day when we left, which means it's one type of avodah going out of Mitzrayim. But what happened with that one type of avodah? It's one momentary transformation, but a transformation that doesn't fully yet transform the person. It takes, like we mentioned earlier, a lifetime to actually implement it. But the chol hayamim, and that's why when we talk about the Gula Sida, we say the chol hayamim miyimei Gula Rishayna migalus Mitzrayim ad hagula Sida b'meirav yameinu amen. All of the days from the time of the original redemption when we left Egypt until the future redemption, speedily in our times, they are all days of leaving the land of Egypt, as it explains in the Maamaer. Meaning, it's not two separate entities. We left Egypt, we had everything that went in the middle, and then we're going to go out of the complete Gula. It is all one series of Gula. We left Egypt, it was a one moment transformation where the world is now able to perceive godliness. And just as it didn't fully do it till the Torah was given, so even more than that, after the Torah was given, the world itself didn't fully do it, but there needed to be every single day we're continuing to live with, we're continuing to act upon this leaving Egypt. We're constantly living Geula days. We didn't have two separate things. It's a constant stretch. It's a constant. It's a constant movement that happens step by step. It's a progression of actions and a progression of changes, which till they bring about the Gula Asida. V'hainu, this means the fact that when we left Egypt, this opened up the pipe, which means it opened the tap. It enabled also the future redemption. Haseder bazehu. It's not just that it opened it up and now there's able to come another redemption later, but the order and the way it goes is shebechol yoim vayoim. Every single day, from the day we left Mitzrayim until the future redemption, every day we're leaving Egypt. Every day we're leaving our confines. Every day we're leaving in a higher manner. Like we said, it's a progression of leaving Mitzrayim. Kimei. We're constantly leaving our Mitzrayim, the limitations of the world. Until we reach the ultimate elevation, the ultimate completion of it in the future Gula. And now the Rebbe explains it, our sages tell us, Bechol deir v'deir, Bechol yom v'yom, in every single generation. And the Alter Rebbe adds in Tanya, every single day. Chayav Adam lireis es atzmoi kilu hu yotza hayem mitzrayim A person is obligated to see himself as if today he left Egypt. Which is also the Alter Rebbe's addition, which means every day we must leave Egypt, we must leave the confines of Mitzrayim, and especially at the time when we read the Shema. Like the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, what's the reason that the sages established that when specifically do we mention and when specifically do we remember the fact that we left Egypt at the time of Krishma? Krishma has three portions. Shema, Vayam Shemaya, and Vayomer. Shema and Vayam Shemaya are mitzvahs of saying every day. Vayomer is the parsha of Tzitzis. What does that have to do with leaving with the Krishma? And Alter Rebbe explains because the whole reason we say Vayomer is because it's the remembrance of when we left Egypt. And this is something which happens specifically at the time when we read Shema. These two, Shema and leaving Egypt, they're all one thing. And this concept should be that by reading Shema there has to be the avodah of leaving Egypt. This is true also by Krishma of the night. Like the Rambam writes, the Masha Keden Parsha Tzitzis Gam B'Krishma Shal Arvis. Why do we read the Parsha of Tzitzis also by the Krishma of the night? Even though the mitzvah of Tzitzis isn't by night, like it says, it's only in a time when we can see. Is because then there's the remembrance of going out of Mitzrayim, which means that every Jew twice a day, once at night at the beginning of the day, when the day begins according to the Torah, and once in the morning by day, a person says Shema, and with the Shema he talks about leaving Egypt, because Shema, the realization that Hashem is one, the realization of the real, true oneness of Hashem is something that enables a person to leave the Egypt, to leave the confines of his world. That's why when a person says Shema, it's such a powerful moment. It's all about, this is when we actually are able to leave the confines of our animal soul. And now we understand what it says as in the days that you left the land of Egypt. And it says the days in plural. Even though, like we say, Yitzias Mitzrayim was in one day, which means it was one type of avodah. Through the fact that we mention every single day, we mention the Exodus from Egypt, which that really the first time was one day. Meaning, the beginning of Yitzias Mitzrayim was the one aspect, the one concept of just leaving the confines of the world of our animal soul. But the fact that we mention it every day means Yitzias Mitzrayim. Yes, it's the one concept of leaving Egypt, the one concept of leaving the confines of our animal soul. But every day we do the same thing. We leave these confines on a higher manner than beforehand. We go to a higher and deeper understanding and realization and a greater leaving of the confines of the world. Because every day we go out of a higher level of confines and limitation. And we stand ourselves, we set ourselves in a way of ufaratsta, of breaking through in a way, that a manner that's totally beyond all limitations. We break through. Until we reach ufaratsta, breaking through the boundaries and the ultimate and true completion, when there's no longer any boundaries, because there's always boundaries, but we left the boundaries in the beginning. We left the boundaries that confined us in the immorality of Mitzrayim. Then we went to a higher level where we appreciate godliness even more. But there's still boundaries. And then we go to a higher level, we're still limited. Until we come to break through all the limitations, that there are no limitations anymore, we become one with the essence of Hashem. And how does that happen? The complete Geula was through Mashiach. Mashiach is called Peiretz. He breaks through all the boundaries. This is why Mashiach is called the son of David. And also the sign that shows that this is Mashiach is the fact that he is involved in studying Torah. He's involved in doing mitzvahs just like his father David. And he fights the wars of Hashem. Why David? Why is David the whole point of Mashiach? David comes from Peretz, which means David's essence is Peretz. Peretz breaking through the boundaries. That's what Mashiach is, breaking through all the boundaries and all the confines and limitations that there are. This is the Rebbe's big kach, big thing, especially in the years after 1960 onwards, when the Rebbe spoke strongly about Uforatzta, breaking through all the boundaries, until the Rebbe's whole existence became connected with that idea of Uforatzta, with the song of Uforatzta. I heard a story at one time in Russia. The Chassidim were in Russia. And there used to be sometimes a person who, Rahman al-Islam, the Russians caught him and they threatened him that if he doesn't cooperate with them, they'll kill his family, they'll kill his wife and kids, chas v'shalom, etc., etc. And so even though he maybe would have readily given his own life over, but such a test some people couldn't withstand, and they became informers on other Jews. But people knew who was the informers. They were always careful from him. There was the one time that this one informer, he came and he hears how the shluchim had come from. The Rebbe constantly sent shluchim to Russia. And the shluchim came from the Rebbe, they taught this new nigun Uforatzta that the Rebbe had taught. So this person, he comes a little closer, and he was also from a Hasidic family. And he hears how someone's humming Uforatzta's new song. He says, where did you get this song from? He says, it's a Pirchei song. He says to him, no, this is the Rebbe's song. It's so recognizable till this becomes the concept of Uforatzta. The song of Uforatzta has become the expression of what it's all about, because that is the idea, breaking through boundaries to the extent that there are no boundaries. The essence of godliness is revealed, everything. There's no boundaries between above and below. There's no boundaries that separate, and that's in fact our world. There's a world that has no boundaries, which expresses itself also in the opposite side, but which expresses itself in Kedusha and the whole idea that the whole world is a small global village. There's no more borders, there's no more boundaries, and the Rebbe spoke about this, and the Rebbe brought this about in Torah. In the Rebbe's Torah, there's no boundaries. Between Nigla and Chassidus and Kabbalah, it's all one. And in the Rebbe's teachings, and in what the Rebbe teaches us to do, is to go through all boundaries. There's nothing that holds us back, because you can be in the lowest place, you can be in the furthest place, in the darkest place. The essence of Hashem is revealed there. Now the Rebbe continues to explain how this is every single day also, not just as a general thing that every day we go higher and higher in breaking through and breaking out of the boundaries and limitations of the world, but in fact every day itself also this happens. They say there's a Geula, this order, this way of redemption, which started from the Exodus from Egypt in a simple sense, until through the working and doing, serving Hashem in a manner of remembering Yitzias Mitzrayim every day, we reach the Geula Shlema, the complete redemption, because that's a continuation of going out of Mitzrayim. That's the ultimate going out of Mitzrayim, which that comes out the Yale HaPeiretz Lefanenu, through the Peiretz, Mashiach who breaks through the boundaries, goes up and before us. Yesh Tugmase B'chol Yem V'Yem, every single day we also go through various levels of going out of our boundaries and limitations. When a person wakes up in the morning before he davens, he's in Mitzrayim. He's in the limitations, the confines of the body. Like it says in the pasuk, refrain, stay away from the person who the soul is in his nostrils. Because with what is he important? And the Gemara says, Al tikri bameh ela bama, don't read it bameh, but rather read it bama. Bama is a set, high existence, which means that a person, when he wakes up in the morning, his neshama is still in his nostrils, it hasn't yet spread out in his entire body. He can't feel in his entire existence the reality of godliness. Instead, he feels himself as an existence on his own, which is why when a person wakes up, he has the powerful leanings towards materialism and bad characteristic traits, etc. Once he goes through the day, he brings godliness into his life. It's the same thing with a little child, that he has also the power of sometimes negative characters, and it's through maturing, but it's every day, and every person every day matures, and especially through the avodah of davening. That when a person davens, before he davens, in the beginning of the day, this soul is only in his nostrils and it doesn't spread out throughout the entire body, which means the soul, which is the revelation of godliness, doesn't affect every single part of him. And therefore, at the beginning of the avodah, a person wakes up in the morning, he has to force himself to get out of bed. Person needs to go daven and learn. He has to force himself. In the beginning of the day, he still doesn't feel it. Then the material, the matter of his body and his animal soul and the opposite side are powerful, and he has to overcome them. And until the next level of his skafia is not only he overpowers, but he overpowers in a way that he makes them against their will say Amen. Like we know when a person comes home from shul, he has two angels with him on Friday night, and when the good angel says, he gives him a blessing that everything should be the same way next week, then the bad angel is forced to answer Amen. Amen means I agree, but he's being forced to do it. He doesn't really want to do it. And therefore we say that this is still called iskafia, that what? The Yisayu Lavedas Hashem, his animal soul helps him serve Hashem. He's still being forced to do it. He's still only fighting and being victorious over his animal soul. Till he davens, he brings godliness into his realization, into his understanding. His conscience now is consciously aware of the reality of Hashem, to the extent that he reaches this hafcha, that he actually transforms his animal soul. But also in his hafcha and transformation, there's various levels. First, it's in a manner of libi chalul b'kirbi, that he killed his Yetzer Hara. My heart is hollow inside me. He doesn't have that Yetzer Hara. Until he reaches the love of Hashem with your entire heart, which means with both your inclinations. That is Yetzer Hara, Shagam Yetzer Hara, Gufa Nefach, L'Teiv, the Yetzer Hara itself is also transformed into good. B'dugmas Tshuva Shleima, Tshuva Me'ava Shezdeinis, Nasim Le'Kizachis, which that's similar to complete Tshuva. Tshuva out of love, that even the sins that the person did on purpose, they become like mitzvahs, V'achanasim L'Zachis Mamish, until they become actual mitzvahs. Mishnei inyanim elu shebechol yem iskafia v'ishafcha im bedugma sagula d'yitzias Mitzrayim ugula asida. These two concepts that happen every day. First, iskafia overpowering the bad, and then ishafcha transforming the bad. They're similar to the two ideas of the redemption from Mitzrayim and the future redemption. Why? The Yitzias Mitzrayim ksiv ki baracham. By Yitzias Mitzrayim, it says the people ran away. What does it mean they ran away? The Alter Rebbe asks in Tanya, we didn't have to run away. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have to tell them to run away. Parei was ready to allow anything to happen then. Why was there a need to escape? If they told Parei we're leaving forever, he wouldn't listen. He wanted anything. He was ready to do anything at that time. But they ran away, they escaped because the spiritual Mitzrayim was still not broken. The confines were still there. The person didn't transform himself, not even through Sfiras HaOmer. The bad was in its full power, the materialism. The immorality of Mitzrayim was still there in its fullest. But they had this great revelation of godliness which enabled them to run away from the bad. B'chinas iskafia, that's the level of iskafia. Then there was Sfiras HaOmer, transforming. Matan Torah, but that's all still only a preparation for the complete gula of the coming of Mashiach. Ula'asid lavei. In the future, in the time of Mashiach, Yeves ruach atum avim in aretz. Then Hashem says, the spirit of impurity I will remove from this earth. Dugmas v'libi chalol b'kirbi. Starting with, I'll remove the spirit of impurity, which is like when we kill the Yetzer Hara. Moreover, till it gets to the state where the bad itself, the Yetzer Hara itself, is transformed into good, like we said before, that the Yetzer Hara also begins to love Hashem. And like it says in the pasuk, then in the time of Mashiach, Hashem says, I will transform the nations. I'll turn them around. Safa Bruda, they should all be a clear language. Likre kulam b'shem havaya. They should all call out in the name of Hashem, love them shechem echad, serve Him all together. Shegamu amim gufa, yehafchu lavde yizbarach. Even the nations of the world will be transformed to serve Hashem. Ve'amdu zarim v'rotzeinachem, like it says, strangers will rise and they will shepherd your sheep for you. That's people, humans will begin to be totally transformed into serving Hashem. And similarly, also animals, like it says, Vishbati chaya ra min haaretz. Hashem says, I will destroy all wild animals from upon this earth. But the Gemara explains, the Teiras Kehanim explains, Mashbisan shelo yaziku, that Hashem will destroy them, meaning He will cause them, He'll change their nature that they shouldn't cause damage. Then there will still be the existence of wild animals. Nevertheless, their nature will be that they won't cause any harm. Not only that, they'll become helpers that will help a person serve Hashem. Like it says in the pasuk, in the time of Mashiach, the wolf shall live with the sheep, and the lion will eat straw, just like the cattle, which means there'll be a person will be able to receive gain, to get advantage, and to be able to use the wolf just like he can use the sheep, and the lion just like he can use cattle. To the extent that even the snake, peasant, sifeni, shamash gadol, like it says that in the Gemara, that in the time of Mashiach, the snake will become a big servant of the person serving him in worship, in serving Hashem. Not only the snake will also help a person, not only won't be in opposition anymore. The snake is the Yetzer Hara, the Klippa. Not only will help a person serve Hashem, and the godless Shamash Gadol is going to be a great helper in serving Hashem. What does that mean? That's why after the Gula of Yetzias Mitzrayim, they were still able to be godless, because the bad was still there. We transformed it a little bit with Sfiras HaOmer. But the bad was still there, so there still can come another galus. Whereas in the time of Mashiach, everything will become totally transformed. Not only will be disappear, but it's going to be transformed, that its entire existence will be to serve Hashem, because the essence of godliness will be revealed. Now the Rebbe continues to say, since we're explaining this in the avodah of a person, iskafia and ishafcha, why is there still a need for iskafia? For overpowering, if we were able to transform it already, which is so much greater. And v'hinei af shebivchinas iskafia hi bichlalos nailis har beyeser mibchinas ishafcha hi bichlalos nailis har beyeser mibchinas iskafia. Despite the fact that ishafcha, transforming the world, transforming even the nachash, the snake, transforming every aspect of the physical and material world, that it itself should serve Hashem, is much higher and greater than the level of iskafia, of just overpowering the bad. Nevertheless, there's still an advantage in iskafia over ishafcha. As it's understood from this, that it says in Tanya, when's a person called one who serves Hashem? When he's able to overpower and change his nature. Complete tzaddik doesn't have this greatness. And specifically through the Aveda V'Skafia, that's what causes the glory of Hashem to be elevated in all the worlds. That's specifically through Iskafia. Why? Because Iskafia means that you're pushing it away, you're dealing with the bad as it's bad, but overpowering it. You haven't transformed it yet to good. Now, bad source is a higher source, and therefore, what's revealed through that, the person changes his nature. That's where there's a real chiddush. You didn't yet transform it. You overpowered it. Which that's like we say, Amshachas. It's bringing down a light which is higher and above the world. And like the Frierdiker Rebbe explains in the Basi Legani Maamaer, an analogy from a flesh and blood, a human king. In order to win the war, Ishafcha isn't the war you've transformed. Iskafia is a constant war. You have to overpower the bad. And when a king wants to win the war, because the power of victory is so strong, in order to win the war, he squanders all of his treasures. If it's a regular year where there's no war, there's no need for a war, not only does the king not use the treasures for anything, they're constantly hidden, they're concealed, no one even sees them. And specifically in a time of war, not only does the king open the treasures, more than that he squanders them without any type of limitation whatsoever. He gives it to the soldiers in order to win the war. Who does he give it to? The foot soldiers who have a war. They haven't yet become officers. They're on a level where they're constantly fighting. The king gives the greatest treasures because of the power that there is in victory, and that's the idea of Iskafia. And the same thing is above in the spiritual worlds. There's a treasure which is hidden and concealed from any eye. No eye has seen it beside Hashem. When we have a war, not when we're holding by transformation, when we're still fighting in order to win this war with the Yetzirah, Haveda Diskafia, Neisnim Gameitzer Zeh, Hashem gives all the powers in the world, including this treasure. Uveifen Shel Bizbuz, not only he gives it in a manner of squandering. And who does he give it to? To the simple warriors, the simple soldiers, Dafka, the fact that a person, despite all the hardships of his Yetzirah, despite all the tests of his Yetzirah, he still overcomes the Yetzirah. And despite the fact that he lost yesterday, he overcomes and he fights again and he fights again and he fights again. That's Mesiras Nefesh. That's something which doesn't make any sense at all. The liyes, and that's why Hashem gives it to these soldiers, because they're dealing above seichel, above their own intellect. Since they're avodah, they're serving Hashem is in a manner that's beyond any limitations. Therefore, also what's given to them is treasures which are above all limitations, but it's given in an unlimited manner. Pisa, Yuvan, based on this we can understand Mashiach's Kiritz, yes, Mitzrayim Gam Lasid Lava, why even in the future, in the time of Mashiach, we'll mention the exodus from Egypt. Even though, like we said in the beginning of the Maamaer, that the revelations of the future are incomparably higher than the revelations that there were in the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim. Being that bringing down this treasure is specifically for the purpose of winning the war. When do we get the treasure? When we're fighting, when it's hard, when it's tough, when it's impossible, and yet we keep on going. We keep on winning the war, we keep on fighting the Yetzer Hara. That's when we get the highest level of treasure in an unlimited fashion. When Mashiach comes, we're going to mention it, meaning we're going to call upon the great revelation that we brought in the time of Galus, in the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim through Iskafia, so that we should also have the revelation of that great treasure also in the time of Mashiach. However, says the Rebbe, v'gam amshacha zu tia az b'tachlis hagilui k'chol inyanim d'lasav le'ikanif ein merecha. However, it's going to be an essential revelation. It's going to be ultimately revealed, just like everything of the time of Mashiach, when the very essence of Hashem will be revealed. This is the meaning of the pasuk. Just as the days when you left Egypt, I'll show you wonders. In the future, redemption, there'll be both things, both great things. There'll be the quality of Iskafia. Kimei Tzeischa Mitzrayim. We'll still feel what brought it about, the Gula. The Iskafia, the fight, the war. But together with that, there'll be also the Maila of transformation. I'll show you wonders. So there'll be Kimei Tzeischa Mitzrayim. There'll be the feeling of what started the Avodah we still have going out of Mitzrayim, fighting the war, and there'll be the wonders of transformation. What does that mean? Through our actions and our Avodah in the time of Galus. Remember, what did we talk about? It's Kimei Tzeischa Mitzrayim. Yes, it's incomparably higher, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing, yet in a manner that's without any cover, it's incomparably higher. The same thing in Avodah. When we're working now, we're working with the revelation of Mashiach. It's not that now there's Galus, now we're fighting. Mashiach will come, there won't be any wars anymore. Now we're fighting, when Mashiach will come, the ultimate meaning of the fight will be revealed. What will it come from? Through our actions in Avodah throughout Galus. Sheklalus Aveda Dizmana Galus Ubeifin the Mesiras Nefesh Lemaila Memedida Vagbala. The general Aveda, person serving Hashem in the time of Galus, comes in a way of Mesiras Nefesh. It's beyond limitations, beyond measure. Shari Bizmana Galus. Why is it? Because in the time of Galus, Ubefrat Biikfes the Meshicha, especially in the last moments of Galus, the heels of Mashiach, Yeshmainim U'Ma'akvim. There are things that hold us back. There is an abundance of tests. Until the greatest and the toughest test. The first halacha of Shulchan Aruch. Lanisayin, the test of La Yizbayish Mipnei Bnei Adam Amaligim Alav. Not being embarrassed. Not being ashamed from the people who mock. That's the toughest test. That's the strongest Mesiras Nefesh. It's tough. There's things that stand in our way. The whole world seems to be against us. Our own Yetzer Hara is fighting with us. Our own feelings want to tell us, give up. And yet, v'af al pichein, still ein mischashvim im kol haminias. We don't take into account all of the hardships. V'leimdim teira, we learn teira. U'mekaimim mitzvahs, and we do mitzvahs b'li kol cheshbeinas, without any calculations. V'at, to the extent shafilu reikanim shebach, even the emptiest of Jews, meleim mitzvahs kerimain, is filled with mitzvahs as a pomegranate. The loirak shemekaimim mitzvahs, not just that we do mitzvahs, elo shemaleim mitzvahs, we're filled with mitzvahs. we're not only preparing for the time of Mashiach, we're preparing with the war that we're fighting now of Iskafia. We're connecting together that time of Galus, that Gula of Mitzrayim and the Gula of Mashiach. And as a result, we go out of Galus b'rechush gadol, with a great rechush, with a great abundance shel mitzvahs, of mitzvahs, v'rechush gadol shel Torah, and a great abundance of Torah. The Gam Talmud Torah mitzvah, that also studying Torah is a mitzvah, v'adirabah. Hishkula keneged kol mitzvahs, studying Torah is equal to all the mitzvahs. We fight and we do a mitzvah, we learn Torah, and that gives us an abundance, a rechush, what we accomplished. And since this great abundance of Torah mitzvahs adds in our schus, in our meritaries, and moisiv zeros gamba achishena, it adds a hastening also, in hastening the coming of Mashiach. In a way that we go together with the clouds of the sky. Very soon there'll be the true and complete redemption. And this redemption will be in a manner of just as the days when you left Egypt, I'll show you wonders, hainu, meaning there'll be both things. Since the redemption comes through our actions, through our avodah, Bismana Galus, throughout the time of Galus, this is Mashiach, especially in the hardest time, in the footsteps of Mashiach, in the heels of Mashiach. Since this is what's going to bring the Gula, we have in the Gula the power that brought it, the power of Iskafia. Together with that, we have a Gama Ye Gama Ren and the Flois. I'll show you wonders, meaning the Flois, Gamberech and the Flois. Wonders that are incomparably greater even than the wonders in the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Which means including that they're incomparably greater even than the wonders in the time of the splitting of Yamsuf. Despite the fact that when the Yamsuf was split, there was the greatest revelation. Every single Jew was able to point with the finger and say, Zeh, this is Hashem, to the extent that even a maidservant was able to see by the Yamsuf what even the greatest of prophets didn't see. Nevertheless, all of these great revelations of the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim were all alayam, on the sea, meaning Melubeshes, V'chinas Malchus, was enclosed in Malchus, which is called Yam, and like we said earlier, that Yetzias Mitzrayim was ala Pesach, the door, which is also Malchus. And also revelation of Kriyas Yamsuf, just like Matan Torah and Yetzias Mitzrayim, was only for the time being. It didn't transform the world. Came from above. The world wasn't yet a vessel, a receptacle for it. That's the idea of iskafia, not transforming the world. Like when we left Egypt, that the bad was in its full power and we had to run away from it. Didn't come from below. But when Mashiach comes, Hashem will show us wonders. Wonders which are also wonders in comparison to the wonders when we left Mitzrayim, when the sea was split. Then it will be ultimate niflois, which means it will be the same thing, but will be uncovered. There won't be any garment, there won't be anything hiding it, and the world itself will be permeated with it. And therefore, it will all be transforming the essence of Hashem revealed everywhere. But yet, we'll have also the highest revelation, which comes from the power of the fight.